let's start recording. I almost forget. So some of you may like being sure you cannot get it. So I want to. I'll record. You can watch it. I hope you did watch all these videos. Otherwise, just waste my time, right? Anyway, so for this mentoring part, you are the protected one. You need to get a senior member to provide you guidance, and the mentor can provide two type of functions. First one is career function. Second one is psychosocial. So what are the career functions? Without looking at the note, do you know? Anyone? Let's try. I just try to go back. Shen Shen or Ying. Very good name, right? Shen Shen Ying. And what would be the career functions? Ying, right? If you think of the mentor, what can the mentor provide to you? Okay, Chunhua, very good. Sponsorship. Yeah, and Shen Shen too. So the first one is sponsorship. As you, particularly for new members, you are just a little fish in the big pond. Nobody cares about you. You need your sponsor. You need your mentor to sponsor you to do a lot of things. Okay, the sponsor, and later on for the, we're going to discuss it. Sponsor means that somebody standing behind you, not training that. Mentor would be more the sponsorship, mean that you do whatever you think is right. I'm standing your back. I back you up. A senior member, if the like a senior enough over there, you can do whatever. Like you try to learn, and then I back you up. You make mistakes, I'll take responsibility. You make it successful. You learn lots of stuff. That's why sponsorship is so important. And besides that, of course, exposure and visibility. You will be visible to, your mentor can make you visible to important figures. So you guys are like it. I'm already associate dean here, so I know you somehow. But if you just regular instructors, how did you, get the chance to be exposed to the key people in the audit school business? You don't, unless you have a mentor. The mentor can help you to do that. You don't. That's why you think about sponsorship, think about exposure, think about visibility. What else can you remember? Next one. Ying, you want to? Okay, good. Chunhua, go right. So Ying talk about the training is actually about the coaching. Yeah, exactly. So Ning Dai Ning. So the next one is about coaching, feedback, right? We coach you to do the right thing. We sponsor you to do. Maybe you're too new, you're too fresh, you're too green. We said the green, right? You don't know how to do it. So the mentor can coach you, can provide feedback for you to do the stuff. So that's coaching. And then the last one would be developmental assignments. Developmental. So for the purpose of a development, we give you that developmental assignments so that you can try. Try is a big task for new ones. If you wipe out, you can make mistakes. You're probably afraid of anything. If you make some mistake, you'll be out. If no one is sponsoring you. If you have the mentor, that'd be much better. The mentor is picking you up behind you. You do whatever. You get this assignment. Try to develop yourself. This will be like a very, very effective career functions. And we also have a psychosocial functions for the mentor to the mentees, but anyway, the protege. So what kind of a psychosocial function you think? Most important, maybe? Anyone? Yeah, almost there. You always get it to the next one. I'm thinking the first one. Anybody? Yeah, okay, very good, Anisha. So that's your role model, right? Your role model is what you try to learn from your mentor over there, providing do like this as role model. Then after that, you have so-called acceptance and confirmation. So somebody to accept you, somebody to confirm you. If for new ones, Mazia, you probably get the feeling, if nobody cares about you, you often feel lost. Nobody cares about you in the new environment, you often feel lost. But if your mentor is there for you, role model to accept you, to confirm your value, you feel much better, feel much more confident with high self-efficacy. And of course, later on, we have the counseling. If you have trouble, if you feel depressed, right, for whatever setback or failures, you often feel depressed, feel very uneasy, dissatisfied. Right? Whenever you are in the setback, you have to be resilient to come back. Your mentor is there to counseling you, to provide the counseling, to comfort you. All this together will be like two different set of functions that can pave the way for you to go to the success. That's what we try to do. So this one, I don't know what more I should say. It's not really just for your final exam. It's more for your life. And one thing, based on this, based on the mentoring program, we already know how hard it could be for cross-gender mentoring relationship, like a male and a female, cross-gendering, right? And cross-ethnic background, cross-nationality. That kind of a mentor often have a challenge. So this one, therefore you have to find a way to overcome it, or sometimes try to, we say, all for one for all, if you still remember. So get one to the top, and that one will have you to the top. So that would be like all for one for all. But as we said, mentoring is very important, but not all organizations realize that mentoring is important. So we have to be what? Anybody can think about the natural extension of this mentoring program? Anyone know what we should do if the organization does not know mentoring is important? If the organization, okay, very good, almost there, Mazia, you're close. If the organization does not provide any mentoring program because they don't think it's important, they don't even know it's important, we have their so-called seek feedback, seek information. And the feedback information is a part of the big picture. The big picture is don't get it? The proactive socialization. Meaning that if the company does not provide any help, sometimes it's normal, it's too big, so you don't feel that kind of, you don't feel that kind of a personalized care. Like in this classroom, we have lots of students. I try to make you feel personalized care to everybody, but if you don't say anything, it's so hard for me to care everybody, right? Lord, you got it right. It's not tried by yourself, instead, the proactive socialization. I understand, Lord, you worked, but you need to keep doing. Think about proactivity. What we can do for the proactive socialization? I told you that one page, the top research provided almost all the guideline for your whole life. Anybody remember? Ying, yeah, we were just asking. We got that one. Very good. Good relationship. Yes. Almost close. Let me see. I will get that one to share with everybody in case some people who didn't pay attention last class will get it this class. No. If I did not emphasize enough, you probably just miss it. Networking. Yeah. This one. Training. No, they were women. Information security. This one we said last class. It's probably the most important. All the life know-hows here. If you want to ask me, what should I do? What is the walk away points? So think about after the finish of the semester. Actually, I'll remind you, the semester is almost finished. In 2 weeks, we'll be finished. It's so fast, right? Time flies. It just goes so fast. We don't really have that much time to enjoy together. I hope you have right? You have a pleasant experience in this class. But sometimes I may be a little bit too tough. I just kind of want you to grow. When I see that you're slow, you're so kind of making mistakes, you delayed, or you procrastinate, if you know the term. Procrastinate, that when you keep delaying stuff. I'm worried, I'm concerned, because we only have 2 more weeks I will be together, then the rest of the time you'll be on your own. And if you ask yourself after this semester, what is the takeaway points for me from this course? Anyone? If you think about it, after I started this course, what is the one that I actually learned, right? This page can give you a lot. You have to think about this one. If you don't know others, remember this one or memorize this one. Take a picture like this one. Your excellent memory, right? So this is the one that you have to use to deal with your life in the workplace. Of course, some people are already kind of wins some endowment, gifted. If you are physically attractive, you're already kind of in certain advantage. We said before, right? But you can do more than that. Otherwise, we said the beauty is only skin deep. So think about all the feedback thinking, information thinking is really, if you are a small fish in the big company, nobody cares about you. What should you do? After 2 weeks, I start a new job. In 2 weeks, nobody even talk to me. What should I do? Information thinking, feedback thinking. I go ask. You don't have a formal, remember that? You don't have a formal mentor who help you out. The company doesn't realize its importance. So we will have to ask, how am I doing? Find your boss, find your senior member, co-workers. You know, what I'm doing. Can you give me some feedback? What should I do to improve? That's extremely important, and it has been proved. Further on, this general socialization. You should participate in all kinds of social events. Say these are social office events, attending social gathering, do these parties, lunches, clubs. It's good for you. That's when, as long as you protect yourself, social distancing at this moment, right? Because some of you are actually in Windsor, so make sure you understand it. But general socialization is a process ongoing. You should do it for your life, not just think about it for this mark or this class. Relationship building in this process, of course, you're socializing to build a relationship. You need this relationship for support, and then things in the positive framing. When you see the setback, or just say that, look at it from a positive perspective. Look at this one from a positive perspective. Okay, just want to let you know, for our class, I already kicked out the 2 students because of cheating. We are fine, We already have 2 students outside the class. They cannot take this class anymore. They can take the next time. But anyway, so because of cheating, it's definitely a setback for some students. Just think about this positive lesson you have to learn before you're getting worse. So actually, I hope you can appreciate sometimes I'm kind to you rather than just say, okay, it's too bad, it's unfair, or whatever. No, for those students who didn't do well, they were kicked out already. We have 2 at this moment. We'll see the further development, particularly for those who did not realize the mistake. But on the other hand, for yourself, if you can think in the positive way, you realize the mistake, yeah. Actually, okay. Before we get that, we're going to go there, no problem. So the positive framing, that's fine. Relationship building is also very important, but particularly important would be your boss relationship building. Now, you have to build a positive relationship with your boss. That's exactly the point. He or she is the one that will determine your part of your future, right? I'm not saying you do that unethical. No, let's say I put it over here. I'm not talking about unethical way to please your boss. But normal way you can do that, right? I'm not, what should I say? Sometimes you see what happened in the States right now is lots of bad things. You don't use that unethical way to do it, but you use a regular way to do this social interaction. If your boss cannot see you once in a month, probably something wrong. You should go there to talk, ask information, ask your boss, what I'm doing, is that good or bad, or what should I improve? That will be really positive interactions, positive one. So that's the one that you have to do. And if you think about this office politics, yes, it is. And you have to be there. Instead of getting hurt by this one, you should use it. And of course, networking is the one that you think about. Altogether, it's networking, right? Last one, job changing negotiation. That's the one that actually you're asking, right? As a newcomer, it's not that at the beginning you try to change your job. No, it's not possible. Instead, you go to feedback thinking, information thinking. But after some time, after like a week, a month, or after 3 months, once you know that you will stay, you can talk about that. You can talk about how I'm doing for the past 3 months. Do you think what I'm doing is good? What should I improve? Or maybe I should, the key here, maybe I should do a little bit more without pay. That's the key. If you want to change your duty, I want to expand my responsibility. I'm not asking extra rewards. Would you do that? Pledging? Think about it. If you are volunteering, say, I want to do more, because if you are in the job like say secretary, but you know how to do the computer, and then your boss has trouble with the computer, you can say, oh, I want to do this one, help you, and I'm not asking any pay. So this kind of a job change or job expansion will give you opportunity for more later on. And of course, when the time going, you also have to negotiate. Maybe I should, I can do that one also. If you give me opportunity, I will try that. The cross-functional department, right? That the team, I want to do that one too. So you get opportunity to learn, then to change, and then you go to the top. That's how we do it as newcomers. And later on, we said socialization is really ongoing. It's not just at the beginning. At the beginning, is of course you don't know how to do your own job, how you talk about the others. So that's a whole thing together for your career, for your life. So I will not test this in the final exam, but I would say you should put more time to digest this information, to think about what's the best way for you to do. Any questions? If you don't, well, let's go to the next, the second part of this. Okay. I've said, okay, that's fine. About this concept, talk about organizational culture. The organizational culture is the whole purpose of everything we discussed before this. Socialization, influence, and these the different techniques. From organizational perspective, we want you to share the identity, to understand who we are or what the organization is. So that's a key. That's why I have self-selection. If you don't like the culture, the value, you should not be here. Yeah, culture you can do wait until the professional, but it's ongoing. If you do a good job, you can consider that. If you didn't even get any feedback or information feedback, don't even consider, right? That'd be natural. They don't even know who you are. You try to change the job, it's easy. They just fire you. So organizational culture would be the one that you have to consider after socialization. We try to understand who we are. We try to get the value of the organization. Also, if you try to ask, what is organizational culture? Anybody? What is organizational culture, right? It's very important. It's often linked to success. It's often somewhere, everybody talking about, but what is culture? You don't have to give an academic definition. Just think about what is your culture in organizational context. Anyone? Discipline, maybe not. And others? Norms, accepted behavior. Okay. Okay, good. Goals. You can incorporate. Incorporate it probably. The goals. Yeah. Target. Yeah. That would be like this one. Some say the value, the belief, of course, Schneider, very close already. Objective values. So this culture actually the soul of the organizations. Not expectation. It's something different. It's the soul, the mission. The mission is mission. It's also cultural personality. Let's just try to say a company. So it's the personality of the company. Who is this company? Then just the culture can tell you about it. So that's the one that about organizational culture. That's about the one that it defines what the organization is. So what is culture? It's based on the values. It defines the objectives. It gives us the sense of what we should achieve in the target, right? But really in the organizational context, many things like employees, structures, all this, department, physical buildings, etc. They are only, we say, the skeleton and the blood. We need a soul for everything to give the life to the organization. That's the organizational culture. Yeah, that's everybody shares. So Shanshan, if you say that way, so that's organizational culture about everything that we share. So the thoughts, the beliefs. You see that the culture provides uniqueness and social identity. It's about the personality. It's organizational personality. Who we are. So we have the beliefs, values, assumptions existing in the organization. No problem. And of course, culture, the norms, and to the behaviors. So that's the whole process. It represents the way of life. How do we live? Organization. So different expectation, right? So with this one, we have a so-called strong culture and subculture. Subculture is concept just to know that within any organization, we may have even departmental kind of culture, subculture, smaller ones. But the key, of course, is to understand some culture are strong, some culture are weak. And a strong culture is the organization with very intense and pervasive belief and values, assumptions together, hold you. So that's the strong cultures. And of course, strong cultures has the opposite, the weak cultures, loosely defined rules, expectation, the values, you don't have to do very much. So they are less strongly inherent or less widely shared across the organization. So they don't feel who we are. If they cannot answer a question who we are in the organization, then probably it's a weak culture. So the example of different things, and a strong culture, of course, has its benefits and the weak side. But let's see the assets or the benefits. First one is coordination. Coordination talk about in the strong culture, it's so relatively easy to coordinate everybody because we share the common goal. So when you think about subordinate goal over there, the overall, then it's relatively easy to coordinate, and similarly, it's relatively easy to resolve the conflict. After all working towards that one same target. We may have a different understanding what is the best way to get there, but we have a common goal. So the conflict is relatively easy to be resolved. And of course, financial success. That will be the one that we often see in many places. You can see all those successful companies, they often have very strong culture. Even though we cannot say the opposite. I mean, if you have a strong culture, it does not necessary to lead to financial success. But still, majority have a strong correlations. That be assets for strong cultures. But sometimes we have a limit. That's liability for strong cultures. Say, strong culture can bring a lot of good things, easy coordinate, easy to resolve conflict, and financial success. But they're also strong. You see the term? If they're strong, they are reluctant to change. So have a resistance to change. They don't want change. They believe as they think their way is the best way. Second one is even worse. And you think about the organization together. In the age of globalization, you see this merge and acquisition. You know this word, merge and acquisition. When you have two different organizational culture come together, a big clash. Think about this, like in Windsor, for example, Chrysler is the one that Windsor headquarters, Canadian headquarters in Windsor. So once they have a big merger and acquisition activity, with a German car maker, Mercedes-Benz. You may have heard like 12 or 13 years ago, Mercedes-Benz, they put together Daimler Chrysler. So good, both a very strong, very famous brand name together. But unfortunately, both have very strong cultures. Both have very strong cultures. So even from the beginning, they had trouble to manage the culture transition. Even Google find out their problems. So after about 10 years of a struggle, they have been struggling for 10 years, try to get them together. They still cannot. Chrysler often believe that the bigger, the more, kind of things is better. That's the typical mindset for American. They believe that the bigger stuff would be better. While for Mercedes-Benz, they think about they need the quality, right? Not the other thing that much. So they have the trouble. So after 10 years struggle, they failed. So they decided to separate. So it's a failed marriage. I think about merger and acquisition because strong cultural clash. The pathology, that's the other one. Sometimes if you believe in something too much, it's just like a sick, right? you will be paranoid. I think everybody else would try to change you, would be like, try to say you are wrong. That's the other side if it's too strong. You see that? So the culture needs to be strong, but it cannot be too strong. If you're too strong, you may get that paranoid. People think about, yeah, well, everybody else is wrong, and they all try to change us. So this one get a very unhealthy situation. So you don't want to make them too much. That's about organizational culture, strong or the other. So a question would be, if we ask, where does the culture come from? It's so important, strong, give us the sense of who we are, the identity, it's the soul of the organization. Where does the culture come from? Anyone? Anybody knows where does the culture come from? Organizational culture come from, of course. The boss, CEO, Ying, and anybody else? Good answers. History of a company, Jing Ru. All right, acting well, you got it. So finally, it's come from the founder. The CEO maybe, but mainly from the founder. Who founded the company? So the founder's philosophy, the values, they're thinking. They're thinking. Besides, shareholders, no, shareholder only buy the money. All right, they don't care about the rest as long as get a share at a high price. So the founder give the value, give the life to the organization, and then based on the selection, the selection process. So founders give the value, give the life to the organization, and then through the selection process, socialization, right? Remember that we have different techniques to pass on the values to next generation, to the newer generation, to the newcomers. We call that founders plus socialization. We get the values. You see, the founders rule and socialization, these two will be the one that give you the value and let you know whom we should pay attention to. We should pay attention to a particular part. Well, what is important? The founder, and of course, when the selection, we'll select the right CEO later on, and then if you don't agree, they won't select you, right? You select the right CEO, and then the socialization make the change. This kind of you can see organizational when strong cultures goes through great pains to expose employees to a careful step-by-step socialization process. Therefore, we should ask, how do strong cultures socialize employees? Big question over here. So they have a very strict step-by-step procedure to socialize people. So strong cultures try to socialize our newcomers. How do they do? First step, of course, also very important, selection. We'll select the right employees rather than those who always say no, no, no. To a certain extent, if you don't agree with the organizational culture or the values from the founders, we don't even select you. We're very straightforward. So we select these people, no problem. But still, we have lots of different employees, or they should pretend. They pretend to agree with you, and they get a job, but even they don't. So the second step would be debasement and hazing. What is debasement? You know that already. Humble, humiliate, like in the boot camp, like in the military. The boot camp. So this debasement, hazing, to strip away from all your individuality, right? You think you come from Harvard? No, it doesn't matter. We're going to strip it that way. You think you're from, a very rich family? No, you just you're nothing here. The CEO is much richer than you are. So this kind of things, we have a debasement, hazing to remove your individuality. Then we do the training together. Anybody understand the trench? No, the trench is like battleground. The field, battlefield, you have the shallow ditch, people all hiding that one. Just put try to kill the enemies. So now you will together, work together as a team. We train you. So we select, we debase, and we train all together. Then some employees, some newcomers become, the excellent ones. The good ones will be rewarded. And then if you are extremely good, you will be promoted. Then we export you to the core culture. What do we care? What do we care in this organization? The core culture over here. You're rewarded, promoted, you export to the core cultures. Then we give you the stories. How our founders created this company. What is important? These are organizational folklores. Plus, we give you a role model to learn from, a mentor if possible. It's like a step-by-step procedures for strong culture. We try to socialize people. This one is less important to compare that the piece of slide we talk about, information seeking, feedback seeking, but it's important for managers. Future, you become the manager, you know how to socialize the people. That's where the one that you have to follow. Get a strong culture from everything, from this kind of a mutually reinforcing process. So we actually, as long as consistent to convey the meaning, who we are, and then you socialize them well. So we want to diagnose culture to see how do I know what culture it is. Of course, see the symbols. Symbols like they including their logo. Logo they use express the meaning, who they are. Strong indicator for other things. If the CEO has a private jet, it's also a symbol that means that the company is working very well, very profitable, and huge buildings. That's also the symbol. If you are Windsor, you can see that the GM, across the river, the GM headquarters right across Olet Street, about 100 meters away. That's a big symbol about multinationals here. The symbols. And further on, you have these rituals. So the rituals, including rites and ceremony, etc., try to convey the essence of the culture, the meaning of the culture, including how the organization recognizes awards events. Recognition and host events to celebrate. And monthly party, you can also have a monthly party to come together to socialize. Once the COVID-19 is gone, we couldn't have parties monthly or bi-monthly. Celebrate, to socialize, to general socialize. Remember that one? Develop your relationship. Hope we can get the one. And for the beach parties, even better in the summer, right? Let's all go to the beach to enjoy the sunshine, the white beach, and all this beautiful blue water over there, right? Like here in Windsor, we have this Pili National Park. If you go to the tips, if you know that tip, what that means, the southernmost land in Canada. So it goes into the river, the lake, to the a very scenic, we say, very beautiful environment for us to enjoy, have a good time, and then think about the beach party. Usually, in the beach, you don't wear that much, right? You can wear less. So looks like we have nothing to hide. We are open to everybody. I'm open. Okay? So that will be the one that you try to build this bond, the cultures over there. You can also this employee nights. So we celebrate the best employees, the most longly served the most time in this organization, and award ceremony. It's often the one that you have to consider. So we have these rituals to develop to make you feel I'm part of the organization, to share the identity, to answer the question who we are. So that's often rituals for us to follow. Of course, we have story about particularly about the founders. Story often happened a long time ago, so that you cannot go verify it's true or not true. But it does. The stories are told to give you the meaning, give the sense who we are about the organizations. If you see the Lord of the Rings, you probably know this one. The stories become the legend, become the myths, and all these things. The story, including some of the stories, say, is the big boss human? That's most often asked question. How could that big boss so successful? Is he or she just a human being? Anybody ever ask? Is this guy a human being? Elon Musk? Well, ever ask? Elon Musk is a Canadian, and also, I think, originally he was from South Africa. So, such a genius is a human being, right? But we'll ask the question. No, he's not. How could he be so successful? Like you can see all these projects, all these companies. If we have one, we already be so glorified, and so many, like eBay, like Tesla, like all these space programs. That like a personal private company, not by the NASA, all this stuff. So how could that be? You ask that, oh, can the little person rise to the top? Will I get fired? Will the organization help me when I have to move? How will the boss react to mistakes? Like this way. How do the company respond to the mistake? So I know the company it is. Like for example, a story in IBM story, right? Story often long time ago, you cannot verify. It gives you the meaning why. So IBM, like 20 years ago, a chief engineer made a huge mistake and it caused a loss of $1 million for IBM. $1 million in that time is actually about around 100 million here. Now, it's lots of money already. So this guy, the engineer, approached the boss right away, saying, I made such a huge loss. I would resign rather than waiting for you to fire me. I have to go. Such a huge loss. What would the boss said? The boss said, no, you cannot. I just invest $1 million on you. If you left, I would lose this $1 million. I want you to stay. I want to get the value back. See how the boss reacted to the mistakes. So instead of treating that $1 million loss, we see that the lesson we put on you. So you learn that you should get the value, try to improve next time, we'll do it, right? How the boss reacted to mistake, give you the identity, the value, what's important, what we should pay attention to. So that's about common themes of organizational stories. And story, of course, talk about equality, security, control, quality, a good version, bad version, is all possible for us to consider what the organization is actually doing, so that we can enjoy staying, or we don't, we can leave, right? That is the story give you the power to understand the organization, to give you the value, to understand the personality of the company, so that if you feel proud of it, you stay, you socialized. If you're not agree, you're not a good fit between you and the company, sooner or later you'll be turned over, right, to another company. So story is there to socialize new members into the organization, and it's ongoing. Story is often told from senior members to junior members, like your senior colleagues, like your supervisors, like your bosses, like your CEO, all possible. But you see, the telling and retelling of a story is really indicative. It's a symbol. It's an indicator of what we care about. So the core values. So this would be the socialization chapter 8. Any questions? And this is the last one. We don't. If you don't have any question, we take a quick break, 10 minutes, then come back. We do a negotiation simulation. Before we can do others, because the next chapter, chapter 9, is about the leadership and our leaders. Remember the culture, right? The founder give you the culture. So our leaders actually negotiated so much every day. The part of the job is communication. So negotiation part of our communication. We'll do an exercise for a negotiation simulation or role play if you know this one even better. Come back in 10 minutes and explain the details how to do it. Okay, let's take a break. Hello. Now I hope everybody has come back. We're going to use the rest of the time to do one simulation exercise to see that how hard the leader could be in terms of the negotiation, a part of their essential skill, communications. So the next class, we're going to discuss leadership. And it looks like we have trouble with your connections. Mu, Hui, Li Hui, Jun Yao. This really, yeah. If you lost connection, then we're gonna get trouble. Zhihan, you, Ziyu. So let's see, the procedure will be like this. I will put you, the negotiation itself is the used car negotiation. You try to buy the used car from a stranger. So this used car exercise, you try to buy the used car, and then this will be the details of this Jetta. So it's 2009 Volkswagen Jetta, 2.5 liters at a sedan. So you try to negotiate the price for this used car between buyer and seller. You will be playing either buyer or the seller. Randomly, I will assign you to the role. And I will also give you a little bit of a confidential information about your own role, like the buyer or the seller, like say why you need the car, or what are the other possibilities, etc. That will be the one, and you try to strike a deal with the other party, and then submit this one. So I give you confidential information. You finish the negotiation. You submit the post-negotiation questionnaire, which is part of the confidential information. And of course, you get the deal done, right? And in this process, first one, I'll try to give you the participation mark as long as you participate in this exercise. That's one. And also to reward you to get the best buyer or seller. If you get the best price for the buyer or for the seller, you see that buyer only compare with buyers, seller only compare with sellers. So the best buyer and the best seller also will get one bonus point. The bonus mark in addition to the participation mark. Participation here will get you 1 mark already, so don't worry. Well, if the other one get the best seller or buyer or seller, you will get the bonus for that. And I'm thinking that to penalize the one, the worst buyer or worst seller, by deduct 1 mark if you don't try to do it good. But before that, any questions? You understand the exercise is try to negotiate on this used car, on this old car or used car, and we try to get the price so that we buy this car or sell this car. And after you finish, you will fill out that post questionnaire and then submit through the Blackboard on the resources. You find the used car assignments. Any questions? You're not paying attention. Any questions? So the process is like this. I will put you into 2 big groups first. 2 big groups, and then give you the buyer or the seller. Give you the information for the buyer or seller. You read, digest, and then I put you into a small group, one-on-one to negotiate. Right now we have 42 students in class, so we're going to have 19 one-on-one. Then we're going to have one group will be 2-on-2. Clear? 19 one group will be 2-on-2, so that we're going to negotiate together. And in that questionnaire, when you try to fill out, your ID number, your name, and the other party's name and ID means your opponent. If you are in a group 2 against 2, it's not the other student, it's the other party. Means you have to put 2 IDs on your side and 2 ID on the other side. All clear? Anyone? No response? Looks like you agree. Oh, you be okay? All clear, very good. Now I put you into 2 big groups. First, we're going to put you into two big groups first. Then I'll give you the link for either buyer or the seller. So two randomly. We still have a connection issue.